An Airforce Academy cadet dies in a plane crash, and airlines are starting to come out of the COVID funk. This and more aviation happenings on Taking Off. Latest aviation news and issues brought to you by Gold Seal. CFIs, you can have a free account at groundschool.com to monitor your students' progress. Check it out. Okay, I'm Dan Milliken, and we've got some bad news, some good news, and some crazy news. I think let's start with the good, then go to the crazy, and end with the bad. Good news. Airline travel has been rebounding, driving huge demand for pilots. My co-host, Christy, is being recalled to her airline. Unfortunately, training begins day one of AirVenture, so she won't be there. Pre-pandemic, there was a real demand for pilots, a pilot shortage. Then when everything shut down and planes were being put in storage, pilots were getting furloughed. And many pilots chose early retirements and packages as the airlines tightened their belts. You think the pilot shortage was bad pre-pandemic? It's about to get a whole lot worse. Last week, American Airlines canceled a bunch of flights because of pilot shortages. Get ready to see this more and more as airlines scramble to fill the flight decks. You know, I'm disappointed in the airlines not being able to be a little more prepared as far as having pilots ready. They did take 2 different government bailouts to keep pilots on the payroll. Might have been a good idea to maybe have them current and ready. It's still good news, though. A lot of you pilots can continue the dream of flying for an airline after seeing the dream seemingly quashed a year ago. For those who have been amazed at the slashed airfare prices during the pandemic, those are becoming a fixture of the past. They're going away. Domestic travel isn't just up, it's way up. This past weekend, airline travel reached 90% over same time pre-pandemic, a new high since everything closed down. And the crazy thing is, international travel is still way down. Really, it means that domestic travel is just going through the roof. People want to get out. Airlines priced the fares way down, and now demand is huge. But don't look for all that to last. Over the next few months, fares will continue to rise, and airlines will hopefully get more pilots out on the line. The big, huge question mark to the airline recovery is when and how much business travel will come back. With Lola still down for another week or so, I've been flying a lot of commercial, and it's still mainly families like young children, grandma and grandpa. We're not seeing a ton of business travel yet. Let's label this one to be determined, TBD. Okay, now for crazy news. I'm trying to stay away from politics, really I am. But then this happened. The FAA's Drone Advisory Committee has asked the FAA to make some changes. The Drone Advisory Committee, because of all their manned flight experience and time in the cockpit piloting those drones, here's what they're asking the FAA to do. Start using gender-neutral terminology like aircrew instead of airmen. Traditional aviation versus manned aviation, and as well, you can only imagine, cockpit. Never mind, the terms mostly come from the nautical heritage, and the cockpit is where the coxswain was piloting the ship from. Has nothing to do with gender. How in the world did the Drone Advisory Committee get stacked with such wokeness? And I guess the big takeaway, what does this have to do with advising the FAA on drones? How many drones have a cockpit? In fairness, let's take a look at the committee. It includes representatives from 17 organizations in industry and labor, airports, and local government. They felt like a shift in terminology could improve safety and morale, creating a work environment where all workers feel safe sharing their views. Now, I took that quote from them. I don't know if the Southwest pilots that were caught disparaging California and its liberal policies the other month feel like they have an environment where it's safe to express their views anymore, but I guess it's really about creating a safe place for certain views. Which, by the way, I haven't run across anyone in aviation who has complained about these gender-specific terms. Now, I'm sure somebody watching will chime in. But is the Drone Advisory Committee just looking to pick up a banner where one isn't needed? Now, if it was a committee of female pilots that made this recommendation, I'd really listen. But basically, outsiders to the flight deck, otherwise known as the cockpit, are banging the war drum on behalf of a group that honestly, according to my experience, admittedly limited, doesn't even have a problem here. And to the drone committee's point, does this gender-specific terminology keep young girls from wanting to become pilots? And that's the point they're making. You tell me in the comments below, except for you guys. If a male viewer is going to defend the Drone Advisory Committee, I'm not going to listen to you. Only females can report that they're offended by the gender-specific terminology, like this one. Christy?
Hi, Dan. I personally, as a female, am not offended by the terms airman or cockpit. I know that they are generic terms used to describe people in a broad sense, not in a gender-specific way. It actually bothers me more that people are trying to segregate what I am in the aviation community. My question out there would be for everyone, why does it matter what gender I am in the flight deck? Shouldn't my skill rise above all? I've seen good, bad, and in between across all genders. Now, I can't speak for all of the women in the aviation community, but I, for one, am proud to be called an airman.
Thanks, Christy. All right, that's my short political rant. Hopefully, the Drone Advisory Committee might stick to advising on drones. I hope I didn't lose too many of you. Now, on to the bad news and what we can take away from it. I'm here in North Texas, and a few days ago we lost one of our own. Nick Duran, a second-year Airforce Academy appointee who made his home in Cleburne, Texas, where I did a lot of my private pilot training, was killed with another passenger in a crash a few miles west of the field. Nick was in his own Grumman AA-1A and was on summer break from the Academy. Lieutenant General Richard Clark, the superintendent of the Academy, said that Duran was our brother, a friend, a teammate, a classmate, and will always be a part of the USAFA. I'm so proud of how our cadets have leaned on each other and honored Nick's life. Very sad. What we know is this. On June 24th at 6:56 p.m., Nick's plane crashed a few miles west of the Cleburne Airport. In the short flight, here's the last 13 seconds. The plane is at 2,400 feet in a slight descent, 59 knots over the ground, and begins a rapid climb indicating 832 feet per minute and gets to 2,500 feet in a few seconds. 4 seconds later, it is slowed to 58 knots over the ground. And that's the ground speed. The winds that day at DFW Airport were 170 at 14 on the ground. We don't know what they were aloft. 5 seconds later, the ADSB's detected speed is 62 knots over the ground. And then the last ADSB ping 4 seconds later has the plane at 48 knots just before it crashed. Nick was flying VFR rules and had no flight plan. His plane was discovered 2.5 hours later after being reported missing. He died of blunt force injuries. The passenger has yet to be publicly identified. The plane was a Grumman AA-1A built in 1971. It's a two-seater and had the upgraded engine to the Lycoming 320 with 150 horsepower. And from my research, the manual says its stall speed 63 clean, 60 flaps, and that's based on a forward CG, which I'm assuming with 2 adults up front. But I don't know if stall speed was changed due to a larger engine. If you know, leave a comment. Also in the POH for the plane, at 2,500 feet, performance chart with standard temps, at 75% power, the airplane cruises at 109 knots. At 50% power, the airplane cruises at 83 knots. Again, we don't know what the winds aloft actually were. It looks like the plane was flying really slow. You know, the airplane had a safety reputation for deadly accidents related to spins. Once the AA-1 entered a spin and exceeded 3 turns, it was usually unrecoverable, leading to an FAA AD in 1973 placarding the plane against spins. We don't know what happened here, and we don't know what the true airspeed he was at, but it was slow and near the stall speed for the Grumman, with a rapid climb followed by a descent from 2,500 feet in 9 seconds. And with that, aviation lost another brother, a family lost a son, and a country a future warrior. I do pray for this family and for the passengers' families. This is another one that really hurts. Nick had just hit 100 hours this spring and post it on Instagram.
Here we are cloud surfing at 7,500 feet. And just hit my 100th hour. First 100 out of 1,004 Celsius.
Nick, though your flight hours on Earth have ended, I pray your hours will continue. Blue skies, young man. Now, what can we take away that will make us better pilots and better people? I need to know the limitations of my plane. I need to continually read my POH and know my numbers, my stall speeds, what my plane is capable of, and above all, continue stall recovery training. On first indication, recover, and recover quickly with nose down and full power. We don't know that that's what happened here with Nick, but I'm going to use it as a stall reminder for myself. I don't want it to happen to me or to any of you. Practice those stall recoveries at altitude and know what slow flight looks like and feels like. Be safe, and let's stay out of Catherine's reports. Now, for the close and some housekeeping. Thanks for watching. Please do subscribe and watch our other videos, and visit our sponsors like Gold Seal and Flying Eyes. Use the TakingOff all caps one word code for 10% off. And we have new hats in the store. Christy was wearing one. Thanks to all those who support us through our Hangar Club and through Christy's Patreon. It really does mean a lot. Remember, superior judgment trumps superior skills. Take care.